I just wanted to show what she looks like with her nurse's hat on. I decided to go with a blue, a sparkly blue, but you can use red if you want to. This is the back of the pet outfit after I put another collar layer on top to cover up the zipper. It looks really good. To make the pet hat, I used my 4mm crochet hook. You're also going to need your tapestry needle as well as a pair of scissors. The main yarn that I used is by I Love This Yarn, the metallic white color. Here's some information about this yarn. And for the cross, I used the same yarn. I Love This Yarn. The metallic peacock is the name of the color. And here's information on this yarn. To begin, we're going to start with the main color that you want for your little dog hat. And we're going to start with the magic circle. So just drape the yarn across your 4 fingers. Use your thumb to stabilize. Then wrap the yarn around your 2 middle fingers. Hold it in place with your pinky and your thumb. Then take your crochet hook, go right under those 2 loops, bring up a loop, then yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through that loop for a slip knot. Now you're going to make 6 single crochet into the magic circle. So there's 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then take your forefinger and thumb, hold the base of the 6 single crochet. You have these 2 loops on the opposite side. Go ahead and pull on one. If it doesn't close, let go and pull on the other one, but this one is closing. Just gently close it as much as you can. You can always close it more later. Then take that loose yarn end and pull on that. Then just turn your work. We're going to start working into that first stitch. So go ahead and go into that first stitch with your crochet hook. You're going to make 2 single crochet into the same stitch. And you're going to make 2 single crochet into every stitch around until you have a total of 12 stitches. So 2 single crochet into every stitch around for a total of 12 stitches. So now you can take, if you need to close the center of your magic circle, just turn your work over and gently pull on that loose yarn end on the back, and that will close up the center nicely. Now we're going to start making our increase rounds, meaning that we're going to continue by increasing the number of stitches in the round. Right now we have 12 stitches in the round. So for the first increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around, back to the yarn marker, and then come back. Now you should have 18 stitches in the round. Go ahead and take your yarn marker, move it up to where you left off, and we're going to make our second increase round. We're going to make a total of 3. This is our second. You're going to make 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the third stitch. And then just repeat this pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. 1 single crochet into 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the third stitch. Now you should have 24 stitches in the round, and now we're going to make our last increase round. For this last increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the same stitch for the 4th stitch. And then go ahead and repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Now you should have 30 stitches in the round. Go ahead and take and move your yarn marker up. Now every time you come up to the yarn marker, you should have a total of 30 stitches. We're not increasing the number of stitches in the round. We're maintaining the number of stitches. So you're going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch around. When you get to the yarn marker, you're not going to remove it, you're just going to keep on crocheting. So you should just keep crocheting 1 single crochet in every stitch around. And you're going to continue this until you've completed 12 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch around. Now after you finish your 12 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch, this is how your work should look. You've created a little cup. Now you're going to make a slip stitch into the next stitch over. Just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook. Then you can go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. Now we're going to bury the loose yarn ends. Now you just want to take and turn the work inside out, and you're going to take your loose yarn end on the inside and just kind of weave it through your work to bury the loose yarn end. And you're going to do the same thing with your other loose yarn end. And then you just cut it. And then it just buries it nicely, so it won't come undone. After you bury the loose yarn ends, go ahead and set it aside for now. And here, this is where I buried my 1 loose yarn end. So this is where I'm going to lay the flap on the front. But I'll show you, I'm going to show you how to make that flap now. So now you're going to take your white yarn and the same color that you had for your hat. You're going to fold it over on itself to form a loop. Then you're just going to take your crochet hook, put it right through the loop, hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and thumb. Then just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through that loop for a slip knot. And then go ahead and just cinch the loop around your crochet hook, not too tight and not too loose. Now we're going to make a chain of 30. I'm just going to show you 4 of them. You just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the loop for 1, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead, finish your chain of 30 and then come back. So I finished my chain of 30. Now you're going to hold that last stitch that you made with your middle finger and thumb, and then you're going to chain 1 for the next row. Then you're going to go into the second chain from the hook, which is the stitch that you're holding, and bring up a loop. Make your single crochet, and that counts as your first stitch for the next row. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet into the next stitch over, and you're going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch back across, and then come back. So 1 single crochet in every stitch back across. So now I still have 30 stitches after I completed that row. Now I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and you're not going to go into the stitch directly beneath the chain 1. You want to go into the next stitch over. So you go into the next stitch over, bring up a loop, make your single crochet. This will count as our second row. You want to make a total of 4 rows. And for each row, you're going to chain 1 and move up just like you did for this row, and just make 1 single crochet in every stitch across. So go ahead, finish your 4 rows total, and then come back. This is how my work looks after finishing 4 rows of 1 single crochet in every stitch. Then I'm going to go ahead and finish off after I finish my last stitch. Just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring enough yarn through to sew the strip onto the hat. But before we sew this onto the hat, you're going to want to bury the small loose yarn end, and then I'm going to show you how to make the cross that goes on the front. Now for the cross, I'm using my metallic blue turquoise peacock yarn. I'm just going to take and fold the yarn over on itself to form a loop to make my slip knot. Then I'm just going to make a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then go ahead and finish off. Yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew it onto the strip that you just made. You need 2 of these, so go ahead and make 2 of these. Now you want to take the strip, and I have the long loose yarn end that I left for sewing in the bottom right corner. This is the right side that I'm going to be sewing onto the hat. So you want to fold this strip in half to find the middle. And then that is where you're going to sew the blue strip. So you just take your tapestry needle and then put the long end that you left for sewing on the tapestry needle, and then just sew the cross in place. So you just go back and forth and just sew the center of the cross in place. And then you can take and tie a knot on the back. Now since this will be on the back of the hat, you don't have to bury the loose yarn end. You can just take and tie several knots so that the yarn won't come undone. Now with mine, you can see how the knot is close to the top, so I want to bring that down. You may want to tie your knot towards the center so this doesn't happen for yours. But if it does, just go gently, making sure that you don't go through to the front and mess up your design. Just go towards the center. And then tie a knot in the center. Because I'm not going to bury the loose yarn end. I'm just going to go about 4 times or 5 and then just trim the loose yarn end. And then again, this is going to be on the back anyway of the hat. Then you can go ahead and sew the center, the other portion of the cross in place, and then tie a knot on the back the same way. This is what your cross should look like when you're finished. Now you want to take your hat, and this little divot, if you have one, will be in the front of the hat. You want to take and turn the hat inside out. Then find the divot, and you want to kind of fold the hat so that the divot is in the front, centered in the front. And then once you've folded the hat, you're going to want to sew across the top of the hat. So you just take your tapestry needle with the same colored yarn and then go through about, I would say, a 1/2 inch or maybe a centimeter the top of the hat. And then just make small stitches across the top of the hat. And I'm just going to tie a knot here because I'm going to bury the loose yarn end when I'm done. So I'm just going to take and evenly sew across the top. Then when you reach the end, you just want to go back across to where you started. Then I took and just tied a knot and buried the loose yarn ends right into the top. Then you can take and turn the work inside out. And you can see how it creates like a little top for the hat. Now you want to find the front again, which is where my little divot is. Go ahead and line up so that the divot is in the center. Then you're going to take your cross and you want to have 5 stitches open on each end. So you're going to count 5 stitches, and that is where you're going to leave those flaps hanging. So you're going to take your tapestry needle and the same colored yarn or the long end yarn that you had, and you just kind of want to weave it through so that you're at the 5 stitch mark. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's the 5th. And then I'm going to start sewing on the 6th stitch because I want this flap to be free. So I'm lining up the cross with the center, and then I'm ready to sew the hat in place. So I just take and sew right through the bottom stitch of the hat. I hooked the other end, don't want to do that. And you're just going to sew all the way across, attaching the front of the hat, the cross, to the hat, making sure that you keep the cross lined up with the front of the hat, and you want to leave 5 stitches open on the opposite side, just like you did on this side. And I have my hat all finished. Now for mine, I like the hat to be a little bit lower, so this is something that you can do as well. So if you like it this way, then you're done. But if you want to have the hat come down a little bit lower, which is what I'm going to do, then you just pull on the inside and then sew a little bit lower, just like we did before. Just turn your hat inside out and then just sew a little bit lower to get the hat to be a little bit lower. So now I'm going to turn it inside out, and you can see your cute hat that you have. Now I'm just going to show you how to pin it onto your dog. So here you can see that on my dog I just used my butterfly pins to pin the back of the hat to each ear. Now if you don't have a pin, your favorite pin, the reason why I use my butterfly pins is that you can take off the hat and then use the pin on the dog itself, and it looks beautiful. But if you don't even want to use a pin, you could actually sew the back of the hat to the ears if you wanted to, or you can extend a tie, maybe a ribbon, and then tie the ribbon on the inside of the hat. So there are different options that you can use for your dog.